You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Over the weekend, Hayes Fawcett broke the news because he breaks all the recruiting news. Bowe Bentley, the highest remaining uncommitted quarterback for the class of 2026, is down to 2. He'll pick between LSU and Oklahoma. Hayes Fawcett breaking that news over the weekend. And Bentley is one who we've talked about a good bit here. Just as the quick catch-up, and I'm sure most of you probably know this story by now, but I'll give you the Cliff's Notes for those that don't remember. So, of course, LSU had Bryce Underwood committed for the class of 2025, the number one prospect in the country for 2025. He had been committed for a year. As a result, a lot of the 2026 prospects had shied away from LSU because they're looking at Underwood coming in 25 going, he'll be there for 3 years. I'm not going to sit and wait for 2 years before having my opportunity to start. So a lot of the elite 2026 guys committed elsewhere, and LSU wasn't really in the mix for any 2026 guys. Underwood in November, you know the story, flips to Michigan. LSU doesn't sign a quarterback for 2025, and now they're late to the game on all the elite 2026 prospects. Now, the good news is the transfer portal can fix a lot of this, or at least it can put duct tape on it, but you still have got to fortify your numbers at the most important position in organized team sports. And the thought always was, take Underwood in 25, you'd probably skip 26, and then get one of the elite guys in Louisiana, maybe Elijah Haven, for 2027. Well, all that's been flipped on its head. Underwood leaves, Ricky Collins, A.J. Swan leave. Now all you've got is Nuss and Colin Hurley. You go add Michael Van Buren out of the transfer portal, which effectively is the guy that replaces Ricky Collins, when you think of it. The young veteran, that's effectively what you got in that spot. But you're still short on numbers for 2026, which is why getting someone like Bentley potentially is massive. So I'll give you the bio on Bowe Bentley. He's out of Salina, Texas. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. And not only does he have good size, but he's a really versatile player. He threw for over 3,300 yards as a junior in high school, and he ran for nearly 1,000 yards as a junior in high school. 1,000 yards, and just under like 990 rushing yards and 16 rushing touchdowns as a junior in high school. So you're talking about a guy that has been super productive, both throwing the ball and running the ball, has good size. If you look at the On3 composite rankings, they got him as a high 4-star. In the composite, he's number 85 nationally, the number 9 quarterback. On3 specifically has him as the number 42 overall prospect and the 5th best quarterback. So whichever service you're looking at there, he's an elite guy. One of the other things that I always tell you about when it comes this, and this isn't something that I'm just saying here today, I always, when we talk recruiting, I'm less interested in star rating, ranking, all that stuff, and more interested in who has offered you. That to me is more validating for what type of player you are when I look at the offer list. Well, it's LSU and Oklahoma. It's down to LSU and Oklahoma. But there's Florida State and Ohio State and Georgia, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, Boston College, Wisconsin, Cal, Duke, UCF, Georgia Tech, Arizona, Virginia Tech, Cincinnati. Go on and on the list. The guy's got 24 offers on the table. So, and some of the biggest programs in the country. So, yes, a guy that you would love to have. And I think it's so important because when you start to look at the quarterback position at LSU beyond 2025, it is a gigantic question mark. Like, you go into 25 with what I think is the best starting quarterback in college football. It's Nussmeier, it's Cade Klubnik, and I understand there's conversations about Drew Aller from Penn State, who started for 2 years, but I also think it's fair to question his ability in the big game because he's earned that reputation. Garrett Nussmeier is the only returning 4,000-yard passer in college football this year. So, and by the way, Cade Klubnik played not only in the ACC championship game, but also in a playoff game. So he had more games than Nussmeier, and Nussmeier threw for more yards last year than did Klubnik. So the only returning 4,000-yard passer in college football, maybe you're splitting hairs there. And I can buy an argument for the upside with Arch or DJ Lagway, John Mateer, who just left Washington State to follow Ben Arbuckle to Oklahoma. Like, I can hear the upside argument with those guys. But you're talking about a proven commodity in Garrett Nussmeier. Okay, you're set there. And after that, you got Michael Van Buren, who started 9 games for Mississippi State a year ago. And then you've got Colin Hurley as a redshirt freshman. But that's it. You go into 2026, there's no Bryce Underwood, and you didn't sign a quarterback in 2025. So presumably, you go into 26 with Michael Van Buren, Colin Hurley, and a giant question mark. That's assuming both Van Buren and Colin Hurley return for 2026. And I'm not sitting here trying to tell you something I know. I'm not breaking news. I don't have insight into this. I'm not talked to Michael Van Buren or Colin Hurley to know what they're thinking. I'm just looking at what the commonalities are in college football, and that's that quarterbacks don't stay. Quarterbacks don't stay. They just don't. You just saw it at LSU. Ricky Collins just left after 2 years in Baton Rouge. He's going to be the starter at Syracuse. A.J. Swan left Vanderbilt, came to LSU, now he's leaving LSU, and he's out the door as well. So look at the playoff teams from this past year, the 2 teams that played in the championship game, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Riley Leonard went from Duke to Notre Dame. Will Howard went from Kansas State to Ohio State. I mean, you can even look at the other teams in the playoff. Like Drew Aller and Cade Klubnik are with the teams that they signed with. But Quinn Ewers started his career at Ohio State, then went to Texas. I mean, you just go on and on down the list. Guys don't stay. I'm not telling you something you don't know. Guys don't stay. So a year from now, would you be stunned if Colin Hurley hits the transfer portal? Or if Michael Van Buren does 1 year as a backup at LSU and then goes somewhere else? I don't know how it's going to play out, but it's a possibility. But as you look at the numbers and the circumstance, what LSU is going to be going into in 2026, I think is going to more closely resemble what Brian Kelly inherited in 2022. When you had Miles Brennan, you had a young Garrett Nussmeier, and then you had Walker Howard coming in. You had 3 guys, but none of them had experience. And so you went and got a 3-year starter in Jaden Daniels. They knew what they had, and they needed experience. So no matter what Nuss plays this year, even if Van Buren and Hurley come back next year, and you add a freshman, you're probably still going into the portal to get an experienced quarterback for 2026. Because you don't have to go into a season with an inexperienced player. You don't have to. Go get an experienced guy. But you're still going to have to protect against the inevitable of guys leaving in the portal, which is why you've got to add a quarterback every single year. So you missed 25 inadvertently. You were supposed to add Bryce Underwood, and then maybe you could understand missing in 26. But you missed in 25. You supplemented in the portal. Now you got to get a player in 26. Or you're just going to be feeding the portal every single year. And maybe that's okay, but it's very hard to create stability that way. And there's always the chance you could miss on that guy in the portal. Certainly there's a shot you can miss on a guy that you recruit. But Nussmeier is the true telltale where if you hit in the high school ranks, you get the right guy who will come and stay and develop, it can work that way as well. And you have more stability as you build underneath that player, as opposed to continuing to go in the portal every single year trying to find the tip of the spear, the head of the snake. I mean, Notre Dame's tried to do that. They made a playoff a year ago, but they also haven't had the most consistent success trying to do that each year. So, Bowe Bentley, he'll make his visits. He'll visit LSU at the end of May, the last Saturday in May, and then he'll visit Oklahoma the first Saturday in June. So it's May 30th, LSU, June 6th, Oklahoma is when he'll take his official visits. Then after that, we'll learn what it'll be for Bowe Bentley. But if LSU misses on Bowe Bentley here for the class of 2026, it is almost a certainty that when Garrett Nussmeier graduates after 25, that even if Michael Van Buren stays, LSU is going back into the portal to get a quarterback for 2026. And quite honestly, even if Van Buren stays and Bentley commits, they may still go into the portal to get another guy anyway, just because that's the nature of the position and the position group in 2025 and 2026. Just in this culture of college football, you can never have enough talent. You can never have enough options in the most important position in organized team sports. So we'll all see what happens with Bowe Bentley. But even if they don't get him, or even if they do get him, I should say, the Tigers may still be looking in the portal for a quarterback in 2026. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.